right, we've just gone live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Global Education's virtual expo. We've got another one here for you on a lovely Friday evening. We do hope that you're enjoying your weekend and you've given us a little bit of an hour on your Friday evening. I've got an exciting university for you tonight. You're going to hear and listen to Stephen Lewin, who's from Griffith University. He's going to introduce himself in a little bit before we get started, and I'll hand it over to him shortly. Just some housekeeping for today's webinar. We're going to run this webinar a little bit unique to whatever you've been used to the last couple of weeks with Global. This is going to be sort of like a conversation between Stephen and myself about Griffith and what it takes to be in Griffith and the life in Queensland and in the east coast of Australia. I'm in the west coast here in Perth, so it's an early morning one, and it's even earlier one for Stephen. Stephen, if you want to introduce yourself while we wait for people to sort of sign in.
Yeah, sure. I'm one of the regional marketing directors, and I have the pleasure of working with the African region. It's a real delight to be able to speak to students all across the continent to learn about study options, not only at Griffith University, but in Australia in general. And it's great to be here to support one of our closest partners in the region, with yourself, George, and in the team at Global Education.
Great, Stephen. Stephen, it is a pleasure to have you tonight, and I think I'm happy to get started. We've got a few people who have signed in, and we do have 60 people signing into this webinar, and I'm sure people will drop in, drop out. I've just heard that there's a couple of load shedding in Johannesburg. Just saw a message from there now. So for everybody who is watching and sharing this webinar, we will provide the recording presentations as well, and there'll always be further information with Global. So please do reach out to us on all the contact details that I'll provide at the end of this webinar. Stephen, let's get into it. I wanted to ask a little bit about Griffith and the value of Griffith, and let's get into a little bit of the university campus and the size of it.
Yeah, look, sure. Griffith is a young university. It started less than 50 years ago to fill a gap in higher education at that time. Before Griffith, if you wanted to join university, it was very expensive, and you needed to have outstanding high school results, and that left a lot of people behind. So Griffith was started to improve access to higher education. It was the first university in Australia to offer environmental sciences, and the first university in Australia to offer Asian studies, particularly with China. So, which I think is very future thinking, and that future focus of the university has remained with us over these years, and a commitment definitely to creating equitable and environmentally sustainable society. All students will have to at some stage consider the environment, our footprint with studying, whether it's a business student, a health student, or a design student. Environmental sustainability is a core theme throughout all programs at the university, as well as the very important employment demand that students have on us. We hope we meet that and by including real life industry experiences in our degrees, and a range of employability initiatives, and hopefully helping students improve their chances to be job ready and transition out of the degree into a job when they graduate, and take advantage of some of the post-study work rights that the Australian government offers to students. And I guess it's really important for us to have international students on campus. It's definitely an aim of the university to create global citizenship for our local students. And so throughout the degree, these international students and local students have an opportunity to focus and compare and contrast local concepts with with an international focus. And again, that's not only preparing students for post-study work rights in Australia, but preparing all students for work around the world. We're a large government university, I should probably say that. We've got around 50,000 students,
Wow, that's large.
Yeah, and it's a uh, and it offers a multi-area of study, so it comprehensive university across 6 campuses, basically.
Wow. And, before we get into the campus there, you mentioned 50,000 students that are at there. And that's a really significant number in terms of the size of the university in Australia or around the world as well. How does that rank globally, as an institution around the world and in Australia?
Look, and I get this question a lot. I know rankings are important for a lot of students, not all students, but for a lot of students. And I think that's one tool that students can use to try to differentiate and help them decide on study. But at the end of the day, it's going to be, what does the student bring to the university to get the most out of their learning, and therefore try to get the most as they transition to the next stage in their career. I'm sure that we know that some of the top leaders of the world actually never went to university, yet they're still very successful. So I think rankings are important, but they shouldn't be everything. That said, when looking at universities of a similar age, around that under 50, Griffith is ranked in the top 50 of the world. So it is ranked 30 with the Times Higher Education Young University rankings, and 33 with the QS rankings of 50, top 50 under 50. When comparing Griffith with all universities, and just as a reminder, there are over 10,000 universities around the world, Griffith sits comfortably in the 200 to 300 range. So a really good effort, and kudos to the research and the academics that we have at the university to bring the university's total ranking up into the top 2% of the world. But I think if students are thinking about ranking, they should also think about subject rankings in their particular areas of study, not just the university-wide ranking. I guess a good thing about studying in Australia, regardless which university, I think most universities are ranked in the top 500 of the world. But when you look at subjects, I think it's really surprising. It's not just the top research universities that are doing well across subjects, but universities that aren't 100 years of age are still able to be the best in Australia in certain fields. And an example of that is hospitality and tourism, where Griffith is ranked #1 in Australia and actually #3 in the world. Nursing and midwifery would be another great example of being #1 in Australia and #4 in the world. Other areas in the top 50 of the world at Griffith would relate to marine or ocean engineering, law, the performing arts is very strong, ranked 42 in the world. But almost every area of the university, subject area of the university, has a touch point in the top 100 or top 150 in the world. So I think it's really important to dig a little bit deeper than the superficial global university-wide rankings.
Yeah, no, it's a good point as well. When you think of students and to try and tell them what they should look at in the future, it's hard because they always look at rankings, they look at all this information online. It's like, hey, look at the campus, look at the university, look at what you're going to get out of it. It's the work that you'll put into it. And that leads to my second question. You mentioned earlier during the first part of this presentation about the multi-campus side of Griffith. Could you just go a little bit into that and explain a little bit more detail?
Yeah, we've been getting there's a lot of interest on where Griffith is. Some students think that we might be located overseas. Well, we're not. We're located. We're a multi-campus university with 6 campuses in total, but we're all in and around Southeast Queensland. So we've got the campuses in the capital, Brisbane, but also in the region at the Gold Coast campus. But the main campuses that students from your area are likely to study would be at our Gold Coast campus, the Nathan campus here in Brisbane, where I am today, and our digital campus is very topical right now, as all students are starting their degrees overseas with our digital campus. The Gold Coast is definitely our most popular campus. We have around 18,000 students and offers almost all disciplines at the Gold Coast. It's a few kilometres from the main downtown area of Surfers Paradise, so which is Australia's top tourist destination for local citizens. So this is a fast-growing part of Australia, and with a population of around 700,000 people. So it's not small, but it's not huge in terms of millions and millions of people. And it's only about 1 hour from the capital here in Brisbane. There are now more international students studying at Gold Coast than there are in our Brisbane campus, and this is partly due to the Australian government's recent announcement that the Gold Coast region is now considered a regional centre, and that allows international students who study in a program that is attached to the Gold Coast campus and complete their studies and live on the Gold Coast are now eligible for an additional year of post-study work rights and stay in Australia for a total of 3 years after graduation. The next largest campus would be the campus where I work, and that's Nathan. And Nathan is a beautiful campus. It's set in a forest. It's very green. There's not a lot of traffic. And there are about 13,000 students studying here, and it's where the university started back in 1975. So students wanting to live in a capital city and have the convenience of the facilities of a large modern capital city will choose the Nathan campus over the lifestyle choices, the beach and sort of lifestyle choices of the Gold Coast. The campus itself at Nathan offers study areas like business, engineering, environment, law, and another area which is growing in popularity in your area, George, is aviation. So we deliver aviation out of the Nathan campus as well. But as I mentioned, all students that are joining the university at the moment from overseas are connecting with us and will have a touch point with our digital campus. Now, this is not something that we just started because of the pandemic last year. In fact, we've been delivering online degrees, even 100% of a degree online for 20 years. And we have 12,000 students who are just studying online programs. These are not your students today that are joining us for blended learning and starting online and finishing on campus. These are students that are just dedicated to studying 100% online. But I think what's important, and the most important thing about the digital campus and students studying online is that it's the same academics delivering the same content. So when your students start, and this week is the start of trimester 1, so when students are starting this week from overseas, from their home, when travel restrictions are lifted, they will be able to transition to the university, and it'll be seamless. They will experience learning from the same academics, and there'll be the same content, the same assessments, and the same assignments. So I think that's really important. What the digital campus does give is a lot more flexibility, so students can access their content outside of the regular sort of teaching hours of the university. So that is, and in fact, there are students onshore that are choosing to study some of their courses through the digital campus because of that convenience.
How are students, like offshore students, studying at the moment? Are they all online? Are they?
Yeah, look, we call it blended learning because there are a variety of different platforms and ways that students are connecting with their materials. Obviously, the international students at this stage are not arriving in Australia in any regular fashion, but there is still a sizable number of students starting their degree and not wanting to delay the outcomes. They want to get through their degree and get into those career objectives that their chosen degree is going to be a pathway for. So students are applying for a degree that is connected with a physical campus, and then they will start their orientation and connection with academic staff and support staff around the university and other students through many virtual environments. There'll be virtual demonstrations, there'll be recorded lectures, there will be tutorials that the students have self-access to. There'll still be peer mentoring and live mentoring sessions. There'll be role-playing, simulations, virtual tours. These are all ways that the academic staff and professional staff have, I guess, grown the on-campus experience. And we do that all through a really sophisticated student administration system called My Griffith. So students log on and will interact with this portal every day to keep a track of their daily schedule or weekly schedule, or even the whole trimester timetable, or the whole degree even has an indicator on to visually show students how they are tracking. Their exam timetables are there, the grades are there. There are links to support staff and facilities are all there, as well as links to Learning at Griffith, which is the sort of platform that students connect with about specific subjects that they are studying. And so that they're getting links to materials and to group work and a platform that aids with communication with other students. Last year, because of the pandemic, we stopped delivering lectures. These are the types of learning where you'd have anywhere from, say, 50 to 300 students joining a lecture hall, or going to a lecture hall for 50 minutes to listen typically to a lecture at the front with slides. And because of the pandemic, we stopped doing that, but we couldn't stop lectures. That's an important part of the learning process. So academics were recording themselves and sharing that with students. Well, we've been using a platform called Echo 360 that still has a recording of the academic and the slides that the academic is talking about, but it also has a transcript and a fast forward and a rewind button and a pause button, and access to this lecture throughout the whole trimester. So this is definitely the future. Even this year, when students on campus are able to attend lectures, we're not delivering them. We're still continuing to deliver lectures using this Echo 360 because of the flexibility, the convenience, the safety of it, and the feedback from students saying that that's the way they want to study those. Obviously, there will still be interactions that students will need to connect, and for those on campus will come to campus, and for those offshore, they will connect using other platforms like Collaborate Ultra or Microsoft Teams. So we're using Microsoft Teams as a major platform to connect students in a very wide range of activities, whether it's on the social level, the academic level, or in the professional realm.
It's so fascinating to see the changes and how things, how universities are adapting into the current model here and thinking ahead in terms of, how they're going to help their students, look for work and employability and all of that. And I want to get into that a little bit, but I've got a question from a student that I think would really do well in this online conversation that we've just had. So I'm going to read out the question, if you don't mind, Stephen, and just have a discussion on it. Raphael here is asking, would you say that students are receiving the same quality of teaching, learning online as they would face-to-face? And then the second question follow up to that is, are international students that are studying online coping with online studies in regards to some other countries that are having big difference to Australia when it comes to attending live sort of lectures? Are we seeing international students in Australia adopt that online strategy? And what's been the outcome and support to those students that are online as well, mainly
Sure.
international students?
And really valid questions, and I guess I should say right from the beginning, it's not for everyone. We've certainly had experienced students of very high caliber that have done exceptionally well prior to coming to university, that have never had experience with studying online, and have not developed the skills of time, of the type of time management and technology literacy that's required, and they have struggled for sure. I've got to admit that, but the vast majority of students have enjoyed it. In terms of quality, the online component, and I know that for students it's all online, but even students that are on campus and in Australia and been studying with us, and in their second year or in their third year of studies, they're choosing to take some of their courses on campus and some of their courses online, even though those courses online are also available on campus. So they're making this active choice to take advantage of the convenience that it offers. And obviously, if they felt that there was a quality issue, they wouldn't do that, because they are experiencing learning already on campus. So as I said, it's the same content, same academics. So that quality assurance is still there. And in fact, if anything, the online environment opens up a lot more ability to extend learning and to provide more resources and to have lectures recorded. Previously you had to rock up at usually like 8:50 in the morning for a lecture, or if you couldn't do that, or if you were working at the time of the lecture, you had to rely on notes from a mate that may not be very reliable. At least now those lectures are recorded and you've got access to them 24/7. Now we were definitely concerned, and as a regular process, the university surveys students at the end of each trimester, and we were really pleased to see that at the end of last trimester, where most students, international students, were studying off campus and online, the satisfaction rating was 1.8% higher than all students who were studying on campus at the same time last year. So that's a fantastic indication that students are not only enjoying the learning process, but they feel satisfied with the learning that they're getting. And I guess satisfaction comes down to what am I putting into this degree and what am I getting out of it? That's really what satisfaction is about. So students are more satisfied with their online delivery and starting their degree. And I think that should be a reminder. This is not about fully studying online. This is just an interim measure while travel restrictions are in place. So we're up at 90% satisfaction of students. So it's not for everyone, but the vast majority of students are not only enjoying it, but they're succeeding at it.
Yeah, I just think of my own experience and how much I wish I could have that re-record button when I was, half asleep in lectures or like trying to pay attention as well. I just think it's such a great assist from being able to just pick up a course and take your time with it and explore it while you're on your own. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You mentioned employability and sort of with, after the studying online still counts towards your visa and regional and sort of that employability side of a university supporting a student. I wanted to ask you in terms of graduate outcomes, how is Griffith helping students who are studying online sort of gather connections, or is Griffith looking at that?
Yeah, look, I mentioned right at the beginning that career focus and the employability outcomes of the university is really important. And we haven't forgotten that during this blended learning period where a lot of our students are joining us from overseas. So those real life industry experiences are still possible. And the whole range of employability initiatives of the universities that are designed to help students be job ready even when they start their degree at home. So that work integrated learning is still possible. Students can still interact with companies as part of the degree or outside of the degree. Just as I am working today from my home in a global environment, students can do that as well. So that's still available to students. The internships and industry placements are still available for students, even though they're not in Australia yet. The Griffith Industry Mentoring Program is still available to students. So this is a program that allows students to look at a menu of professionals that they are interested in working in, or the type of whether it's the type of industry or the type of job that they're looking for in the future, and they can connect with someone who can formally mentor them, give them insights into what their role is about, what sort of skills they need to excel and to develop their career, contacts, what newsletters or e-broadcasts do they or social media do they follow to get insights into their industry. So it's a fantastic opportunity to be mentored into a future role or a future industry. And that's just one initiative that the people in the Careers and Employment Service are offering, and those services are still available to students regardless of where they're located at this current time. So they can still have one-to-one consultations and advice about their CV or applying for a job, or even a mock interview before they have a job interview. But we recognize that those connections and what the university staff and programs can give students is only one facet of students building that employability portfolio. It's really important that they're working with their student network as well. 70% of all jobs are not advertised. So when students see a job advertised, it's only 30% that's advertised. And it's important that students have cast a wide net to try to secure jobs, even jobs from their home, that virtual engagement. So the opportunity to network with students in different formats, whether it's in social groups, in special interest groups that the students can connect with, or informal groups like the International Student Buddy Program. So this is a way to help international students connect with students that have already been studying for some time and can share insights into how to get more from the university network and the campus, and offering social support and meetings and coffee catch-ups or quizzes or Instagram live sessions. So it's really important that students don't just focus on their degree and don't just focus on the services that the university offer when thinking about employability, but they're also looking at building their network with students who could be the ones that give insights into job leads that they find out about.
Yeah. Got a question from a student here on that, was asking how long after a student graduates are those services available to them? I'm presuming Griffith have an alumni sort of function as well, where past students can connect.
Yeah, look, there's a strong, there's scaffolding in place for students at every stage. So we talk about transition. So there's There are units dedicated to helping and programs dedicated to helping transition into the university. There are programs that help students transition through the degree at the university, and then there are transitions in place to help students transition out of the university and into the workforce. Not only does the Central University offer opportunities and programs for students, but also the faculties or the groups themselves, the academic groups. And a great example of that is in businesses and sciences. They've got this program called Business Class or Science Class. And this is an extracurricular program that helps shape students' leadership and helps improve students' e-portfolio by undertaking and challenging students to undertake activities and seminars and webinars and other interactions, part-time work, for example, and get digital badges for that and get recognition for that, and so that they can not only put what those activities are in their e-portfolio, but also put those recognition or awards in their portfolio as well, which helps improve their chances. In many cases, at the very micro level, certain degrees are offering magnificent opportunities to alumni. A great example of that is the Master of Integrated Water Management, where students are once they're enrolled, they're considered part of the alumni, and there's a social media or group or platform that all current students and past students only have access to. And this is an opportunity where students can share any issues or problems or projects that they're working on to seek advice, or to learn about different projects and future job opportunities. So yeah, it's not just an alumni office that's going to do that. It's got to be a multifaceted approach, and I think the university offers that really well.
What sort of study programs does Griffith offer? Just to have a little. I know we can't get into every program that's represented at Griffith. Could we just go?
Yeah, it is a broad spectrum. It's a multi area, offers a wide range of areas of study: for architecture, visual arts, the sciences, very large health, like medicine, dentistry, etc. A strong humanities focus and language, engineering, IT, criminology, and law. So it's broad. But I think when talking at this point, it might be useful to know that while there are over 200 degrees available at the university, there will be some courses that students will have difficulty accessing if they are offshore. So, and this is because some of our degrees have special equipment or have intensive work integrated learning that they cannot access offline, or that have clinics that are really important, and access to labs that they don't have access to at home. So and I think so there are some courses that are not available to students off campus, and examples of that could be like the Bachelor of Architecture, or the Master of Architecture, Bachelor of Aviation, that requires students to have access to our simulations machines. Some of the health sciences don't have that clinical access that they would if they were on campus. So Bachelor of Exercise Science, Occupational Therapy, Paramedicine were not available to students offshore, but they were only available to students onshore. Games design and film and screen media production would be another one that students just would not have the same experience as those that are on campus. So we are not offering that to students off campus because we are concerned about that quality that students are getting and the equity of education from an offshore student to an onshore student. There are some degrees though that we are allowing students to start but they need to be on campus to continue in their second year, and their courses like the Doctor of Medicine, biomedical science, health science, nutrition, sports development. These programs are on offer this year to students who can commence offshore, but they are only partially delivered offshore. So they need to be here by the start of the second year. Bachelor of Nursing is another one where we're allowing students to start the first trimester online, but they need to be here for the second trimester. And in the case of nursing, that's partly because of nursing registration, not so much the delivery of that program.
Are all the programs available this next trimester, or are you limiting some programs for this coming trimester?
Yeah, so those programs, the ones that we are limiting. But apart from that, you know, as I said, we have over 200. So there is a small proportion that's not available, but the vast majority are still available. Will go ahead as planned and offered to students offshore.
I just want to plug in for everybody who's listening out to this webinar. Please visit Griffith's website, reach out to Global Education. We're more than happy to go through all the programs with you and help you identify what you'd like to sort of study as well. I personally like the Griffith website. I think it's very interactive, very easy to sort of explore and look at the different courses. So please, everybody, do visit that website. Stephen, I wanted to ask, and this is a question that we field all the time, and we think it's only increasing now with the financial crisis, with the pandemic around the world. What scholarship opportunities are out there for students, and where's the best place for a student to look into this?
Well, the university's scholarship strategy had to change quite a lot. We realized that there were a lot of families that were planning for higher education for their children, and because of the pandemic, there was quite a lot of disruption to many family plans for this. So we redesigned our scholarship strategy and wanted to provide more scholarships and reach more students and offer more financial support. And the university has, in fact, I think, redesigned their scholarship strategy really well. We're investing over $20 million in international scholarships this year, and through three main scholarship programs. So there's the Merit Scholarship, which is academic merit based. So for all students, high school students coming to us from high school into bachelor degree, or from into a master degree, or they may have studied some time at university and are transferring credit to the university. All students will be eligible for a 20% tuition fee reduction, not only for the first two trimesters, which is the normal policy for the university, but for the whole program. So 20% for the whole program if students can achieve a 5.0 on a 7 scale. So we will look at at a student's grade point average or score for their results and be able to determine if they're eligible for 20% tuition fee reduction. If students are achieving higher and doing better than a 5.5 on a 7 scale, then that automatic offer of a scholarship will be 25%. And again, that's for the duration of the program, and that does continue as students maintain that GPA. For really high achieving students, the university does have a limited number of 50% scholarships for the duration of the degree. And this is, these are typically very high achieving students, and there is a separate application process for those, for that scholarship, and it does include a personal statement. So that scholarship has 3 rounds a year. The trimester 2 intake in July, the scholarship is open to receive applications, and for the merit, for the 20 and 25% scholarships, that is on a rolling admissions basis. So as soon as a student applies, the admissions officer will automatically check for eligibility for those 20 or 25% scholarships. The university is also helping students or families that are continuing. So I know the vast majority of people listening today are going to be a new student, but there might be some that are continuing, and for those, you'd be happy to know that we are offering a 15% scholarship for students who are who have already commenced their degree prior to this year. So that's another scholarship that's available. But it's not just the scholarships that we're considering, it's other flexible arrangements that the university has offered students outside of regular policies. Less important for students from Africa, but to know that that we are now accepting non-standard English language tests like Duolingo or LinguaSkill or the Indicator or home editions of TOEFL. We're also providing flexibility around accepting provisional or predicted academic results because of delays in examination results. We're normally, for a student to accept an offer to start the process of enrolling at the university, we would ask for the full tuition fee of the first trimester. For this year, we are accepting just $3,000 as a deposit to help alleviate some of that strain or burden on students. So this means that they can at least get this the process started to apply for a visa with a reduced deposit. And we've also made flexible arrangements regarding withdrawals. We've made it easier for students to withdraw. I mentioned earlier that it's not for everyone starting their degree online. So for those students that aren't enjoying it or aren't succeeding or meeting their expectations, we are ended up outside Australia and travel restrictions are preventing them from coming to Australia. We're allowing those students to withdraw from enrolment up to census date, which is typically about 4 weeks into the trimester, with no financial penalty. So these scholarships are just one part of trying to ease some of the burden for students, not only with financial, but also other policies around the university.
It's just fantastic. It's great to see such support for international students, going and potentially leaving the university as well. So I do commend Griffith for that structure and planning. It's great to see that. COVID's changed a lot of people's lives, and look, the two of us, sitting on the other side of the world, presenting to South Africa at the moment, perfect example. What's actually happening on campus at the moment at Griffith, and are students onshore at the moment on campus, or what's actually happening at the moment?
Yeah, look, I sit here in quite a privileged position right now. Queensland has is in a much better position than many other places around the world, and so we're very lucky. We've had very strict guidelines given to us by our government, and compliance has been very high, and so we've dodged a bullet, but we've worked really hard to have this what we've got today, and the flexibility that we have to live a very normal life right now. As of May last year, we already had students going back on campus for essential research and teaching activities. By July, we were allowing students to return to campus for clinics and studios and practical-based activities. By August, all students were able to return to campus that were onshore. So effectively, since August last year, if you're onshore and can attend campus, you've been able to attend campus. The only proviso is that we were not offering those big lectures They were still considered too risky and still are too risky. And we don't want too many people or over 100 people gathering in one lecture hall. So we are still doing the using Echo 360 as the platform to deliver those lectures. But we're all attending, weddings. We're going out to the bars and clubs and dancing where all the restaurants are open. It's not necessary to wear face masks. But, things can change really quickly. That's one thing we know about this pandemic. And we're very mindful of, social distancing and not having too many people in one office, or keeping in queues but 1.5 meters apart, or washing our hands diligently 100 times a day and using hand sanitizer. So there are some things that have stayed with us that are important to reduce infection or reduce colds even. But in general, people are getting around in Southeast Queensland and in Queensland in general very, very safely. And as I said, we're very lucky to be living, but things can change really quickly. That's one thing we do know.
Yeah. Stephen, got some questions from some students here. First one is on the, I believe they're listening in on this presentation, so thank you. For students that withdraw from their studies, will it affect their chances of reapplying again once things have eased?
No. So when students withdraw, they'll be refunded, and they'll have a transcript, and the transcript will have a W for withdrawal on it. So students can then choose to defer their studies or withdraw completely. So it's not going to affect their academic performance, and it won't affect their chances of reapplying. So no.
Great. What's one thing at Griffith that you really like? Campus, the city around it. Can you give us a little bit of a feel of what you really appreciate about Griffith?
Gosh, one thing. Look, I think its values make Griffith stand out. Some universities have value placed on prestige and ranking, but I think Griffith's values on being equal with everyone. I think that's really important. The sustainable approach and having students think about the planet and leaving it in a better place, whether you're, as I said, a business student and an engineering student or a design student. All students are challenged to think about their area of expertise and what could be done to make this place better after they leave. So that core sustainability issue is I think amazing, and the university is so dedicated to it.
What's one place you would tell a student that they must go and visit when they arrive at Griffith?
The Gold Coast. It's so beautiful. They've got to take their shoes off, get down to the beach and put their feet in the water, then sigh and say, okay, I'm here now. So
yeah.
And I really want students, even though there are travel restrictions, I really hope that students can hold on to those dreams of coming to Southeast Queensland and dipping their toe in the water, literally, because it's so important that the experiences of being here that and can really change lives. The degree is one thing, but just that the whole experience of coming to Australia and interacting with students physically, and the campus and the materials is is really important. It's life-changing for many students. So we do want students to hold on to that dream, but start their degree now so that they're not delaying their outcomes.
I think the biggest takeaway for me in listening to you talk about Griffith and the opportunity here is the balance that a student can have. You know, you can work hard, study hard, but you're studying in a place where you can network. You've got fast-paced business. You've got a beautiful beach that's around you. You know, I think that real balanced lifestyle the Gold Coast really offers to students. You know, it's my biggest takeaway from this presentation, Stephen. I'm going to ask anybody if there's any more questions from any of the students. I've really enjoyed some of those questions that were posed by the others here. So if you do have a question, please put it through. I've got Stephen for 7 more minutes here, so I'm going to make him sweat a little bit longer with us.
My pleasure.
Where on campus can a student get a dirty chai latte? I bet you that's from Raphael from our Harare office. Yep, that's Raf.
Is that with or without almond milk? Everywhere. You can get a dirty chai latte in all of the coffee outlets on the campus. I think that's in reference to my favorite coffee. And you can order a single shot or double shot.
Stephen, you know what, thank you very much. I really do appreciate your time here, and you know, to get some insights to Griffith in this type of a format. We'll be sharing this with the larger network at Global Education. To anybody that is listening in on this webinar, please reach out to Global. My email is george@globaleducation.co.za. You will receive a personalized email from all of us with Stephen's contact details, my details. Please do reach out to us. Stephen, again, thank you very much. And if you have any last words for everybody listening in.
Look, I would, as final words, I would just say there are a lot of uncertainties, a lot of unknowns about starting a degree now. But I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone in the journey. This year already, we will have over 100 students from the region, from Africa, who are starting with us this week and taking that brave step of starting their degree online, all with a vision to finish their degree on campus. So do feel secure knowing that you're not alone, that it's not a solo journey, that you are in it with other students, and the university acknowledges that lots of students are joining us from overseas and providing services and facilities to support you during this period. So that would be the only thing I'd say at this point.
Great. Thank you, Stephen. Really do appreciate it. And everybody listening in, thank you guys, and keep safe and have a lovely evening and a good weekend.
Thank you very much.